as you all will by now. And shortly, Marney Perna will be joining me. And this morning we're going to be discussing why, oh, why is it so? It's a question that we ask right from a very early age, don't we? You know, little kids remember those questions. Why? Why? And we seem to be answering them all the time. Well, have you been asking recently, why? Why is this happening for me? What's going on? So we're going to look at that this morning. Before we start, may I remind you that these shows on Angel Heart Radio should never be used to replace your legal, medical, nor professional advice, nor your own sound judgment. So, if you're watching us anywhere else but on Angel Heart Radio Facebook page, why don't you go over there, because then you can comment in the comments section and I can see your comments and you can join our discussion, which I thoroughly enjoyed doing. I'm always delighted when people come and join in the show. So please feel free to do that. Wherever you might be, welcome. Welcome, and thank you for taking the time to join us, whether it be live nor later when we're in a replay. Thank you. We really enjoy taking our time to present to you, and it's always wonderful to know that, yes, we have an audience, and yes, we're spreading the love, spreading information, and spreading fun. So important. Is there fun in your life? How often do we get caught up in life and it becomes a drudge and we really don't realise just how much we're on a treadmill rather than, we've got time for us, time to breathe. You know, breathing is something that we do automatically. However, breathing can help us, especially in times if we're asking why. Take the time to be aware of your breath. Sit quietly, lie quietly. As Rosemary Butterworth says, our breathing can really help us relax before we go to sleep. And a few weeks ago, Rosemary introduced to us a very simple and short and effective breath situation, or breath exercise, if you like. And so it's to inhale and exhale, inhale and exhale, inhale and exhale. 3, 3, 3. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. 2, 2, 2. Inhale and exhale. 1. And if you find that you're still awake, then repeat it. I know other people long ago, people said count sheep or count to 100, or take yourself to a place that you absolutely love being at, or relive the day, especially the highlights. What are the little joys in your day? Were you able to create joy for someone else? That's always a great way of lifting our own spirits. If I'm thinking, oh my goodness, I'm feeling a bit yuck today. Well, how can I give myself a spark? And a way of doing that is to reach out to somebody else. Maybe you haven't seen a neighbour for a while. And even for us who have been in lockdown, we're very fortunate because we have phones, we have laptops, a lot of us. Most of us these days have phones. So there's no reason for us to feel lonely because we can always reach out. We can reach out to a friend who we know, or we can reach out to helplines. There are lots of helplines out there. It really is important that we look at our resources and realise that, yes, we have the angelic realms. Do we call on them? Do we ask our angels to surround us in times of anxiety? You know, if I'm having trouble sleeping, do I ask my angels to wrap themselves around me so that I feel secure, I feel loved, I feel warm? We are so fortunate. And yet, sometimes we might not feel that way. They're the times when it's really important that we look at why. As Julius Sumner Miller said all of those years ago, why is it so? I believe there is always a reason. So sometimes we might have to dig a little because our minds get very complicated, don't they? That monkey chatter, especially if we're filled with anxiety or having a tough time, then all of a sudden life might really be getting on top of us. They're the times I figure it's like, why? Am I being sent a message? You know, is this one getting really, really muddy because I've taken the wrong turn? Sit back and have a think. Often, if I'm a little unsure and I'm not choosing to reach out to somebody else, then I put myself in the friend's role. Okay, if I'm looking at my situation as a friend from another perspective, because so often we can get caught up in our own situation. And you know that saying, we can't see the forest for the trees? That can be the case. So why not have a step back and look at what's going on and see if you can see reasons, especially if it's a similar pattern all the time, or if it's something that you feel as though, oh my goodness me, I'm getting deeper and deeper into the mire. It's like, well, what's going on? Why is this happening to me? Interesting stuff. And of course, we can ask for assistance. That's where meditation comes in. Rosemary and I have been talking a lot about meditation lately and the different forms of meditation. You know, some of us go, oh my goodness, oh, meditation, oh no. That means sitting still for ages. Well, it might mean that if that's something that you're comfortable with. It might mean lying down if you're more comfortable lying. Or it might mean doing something fully focused on what you're doing. Because when we become fully focused, that to me is meditation. If I'm going for a walk and my mind is chattering, well, that's not meditation. If I go for a walk and I'm completely involved in whether it be watching my feet or watching what's happening around me, that's meditation. When I'm fully focused on something, because I find that's when I might get answers. It's interesting. Sometimes we can be so engrossed in a challenge that there isn't a way for a solution to come. We need to stand back and allow an answer to present. We might hear it as a voice. We might get a phone call. We might see something in a shop window. We might see something on a billboard. All of a sudden, we might have this brilliant idea. So trust. Trust that you are safe. Trust that you are being looked after. Because I believe that no matter what our circumstances, we are being looked after. There is a God, the universe, a higher power, call it what you will. Be comfortable with your own self. That's really important. I believe that's one very, very good reason that we find ourselves here on earth. To become comfortable with ourselves. Because how many of us really do feel comfortable? Do we look in the mirror and smile regardless of what we see? That's a toughie. Are we? Do we see the wonders around us? Here in Melbourne at the moment, as in Southeast Australia, we're having a very cold blast. And I was talking to a lovely friend yesterday. We were sitting in the car enjoying the wild weather as we sipped on a celebratory drink, because we're not going to be seeing well, this doesn't sound right, a celebratory drink, because to our lives, because we're going different ways in the coming few weeks or months. Not sure when we'll see each other again. And we were saying how wonderful that it was wet, wintry, blustery, very, very cold outside. We were rugged up in warm clothes, sitting in a dry, warm car. How fortunate were we? And that's another thing that we can do, to look at life through gratitude, that we're very grateful for the small things, the fact that I can put my heater on, the fact that I have wood and can light a fire. It might only be a scarce amount of wood, but I'm able to do it. To look at what we have rather than what we might be seeking, because we will always have enough. An interesting point to ponder. Isn't that question, is it something that I need, or is it something that I want? Do I need this new appliance? Would I like this new appliance? And that's what it's all about. Choosing what it is that we want in life. And I'm very, very happy to now welcome Marney Perna to the show. Why is it so?
Absolutely. Why is it so? Good morning, Annette. How are you?
Very, very well, Marney. And I trust that things are well with you. I smile because we've both had challenges with parents, and
yeah,
that's an interesting situation, isn't it? The fact that, and this goes for anybody, we think we know what's going to happen in a particular day, and all of a sudden the rug can be pulled out from under our feet. And we have to adapt as well as we can.
Yeah. we had a normal day planned yesterday. We had his dentist appointment, which went really, really well. So everyone, I'm a carer for my dad, who's 93 on Monday, and he had his regular dentist appointment.
Right.
That went really well. We came home here and had some lovely homemade pumpkin soup for lunch, and then I took him back to his residence. And Dad insists on seeing me off every time I go there, and I go there regularly, and he always has to walk me to my car and then drive properly. He goes behind my car to direct me out, and did that as usual yesterday. So I was following him behind my car, and I saw him lose balance, and he just couldn't catch his balance, and he's not face planted, but aquaplaned across the bitumen.
Right.
Full length on the bitumen. So he had skinned everything, and he not only skinned everything, but on he's got a hand that has previous bad injury on it. He's lost a couple of fingers, and the whole thumb eminence here had been torn open, and all was taken out. So it wasn't very pleasant, and he thought he was okay, and he was trying to get up and he couldn't. So ambulance came and we took him off to get stitched and everything. So I just had to duck over and see him this morning and make sure, because you go into a bit of shock. I was in it myself. So you do go into shock.
How fortunate that you did see him
topic for today. I did. It gave me a shock as well, because I couldn't believe I couldn't catch him, but I was behind him, not in front of him, and I couldn't get there quick enough to stop him from falling further. But your topic today is why is it so? That's what he kept saying. Why did I fall? This has to happen.
So he could have extra tender care from his daughter.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. I felt so sorry for him because he was doing so well. And now he's got, bandages everywhere. He looks like the Michelin Man in bandages.
Will he get extra care? Will he get extra care where he is at the moment because of that?
Not overly, because he's in a retirement village, not a nursing home.
Right.
So because he fell on site, they do have to make sure he's okay. So the nurse she did a lovely job actually. And the manager saw him fall. So a lot of people came to see how he was. But they don't provide nursing care per se. She's more of a lifestyle manager, but they certainly did help. I mean, I needed help because I needed tissues to stop the blood dripping everywhere and to try and hold his wound in shape. Really was what I didn't realise he'd cut it to that extent. He's lost a lot of feeling in that hand and didn't quite realise the damage he'd done. It took 10 stitches to stitch it, and it's only the small part of your thumb here. So it was significant. And then trying to find a doctor's surgery that's stitched. Most doctors nowadays won't do stitch.
I
figure.
So, well, I think it's lovely.
Why was it so?
Yes. But see how wonderful, because he is in a village, which means that people can call on him. And
yes.
So that, I figure that in later life, when we're isolated, it's not as easy for us to have the connection. Whereas in a village where, yes, people are there, we can go and sit in the communal area if we feel like it.
Yeah, he sits quite a lot. He doesn't like sitting in his room all the time. So he's sitting, I'm sorry, I've got these round rings from my light here in my glasses. He doesn't like to be contained in his room. He calls it a cement bunker. So he likes to wander and move everywhere.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's what I love about it too. We've got a little bit more choice in what we do. It's easier to be social.
You're a bit more protected.
Yeah. And of course the nurse.
It's suiting him for now.
Cool.
Yeah.
And it gives you a little less responsibility. You're calling when you want to call, rather than I have to go and see Dad. And that's huge. I'm very fortunate because I thoroughly enjoy spending time with my mum. And
I'm still in the carer's role with Dad.
Right.
I'm still having to take him to the bank and go and help him with groceries. So he's not, the place he lives in doesn't do any of that. So
no, I understand that.
Yeah.
However, it's not as though we feel we have to do something because to keep them company. There's
I wish I could company, actually.
Sorry?
I said I wished I could sometimes just go for company.
Right.
So apparently my internet is very unstable. I don't know if it's you or me, but I'm on my little Vodafone thing. It should be okay.
Right.
So if I lose, it'll ring again.
And likewise, I was a little concerned this morning because it was quite windy, woolly, wild here, and I thought, ooh, see, audience, this is something that we take for granted, and occasionally I get slipped up because I think, oh yes, I'm going to simply log in and I'll be on, and sometimes that doesn't quite happen.
No.
A nice little reminder to be grateful rather than take things for granted.
Yeah. Detecting services.
Right. There you go. All right. Our lovely, lovely topic. Why? And of course, an interesting one at the moment is, why is Marney being tested this morning? As we are, with the fact that obviously the internet is sort of coming and going.
Yeah.
We'll work with it.
We will. And it could be a lot to do because we're in Australia, so if the audience would know by our accents, but there is a little bit of what are they calling, southerly winds and blizzard temperatures coming through the area at the moment. Yes. And there has been, apparently there was 200,000 homes without power this morning in southern Victoria, Annette. So, you know, we're blessed that we're in power.
Exactly.
Why is it so? What a great topic.
Well, see, I laugh, Marney. I am so grateful that I get these little, now what's the topic going to be this week? And invariably, it suits the time perfectly, even though I might have chosen it a little way ahead. So
yeah, it's those angels and guides. They're so good, aren't they?
I know. It's like, well, thank you.
Yeah.
I'm learning more and more and more simply to trust.
Yes.
And earlier this week, I was unsure whether I would be called to my mum this morning. And it was like, what am I going to do? And I thought, the angels, the universe, whatever we like to call God, whoever, or all of that help that we have, they've got the plan. They've got it all organised. And, if we're meant to be here, that's where we'll be. And so I'm delighted because I love this topic. I think it's
I think it's very apt indeed. So and it happens a lot too, Annette, with health. People go, why is it so? So we had I had a brother-in-law pass this week, and he'd been challenged with health for many years now, and had overcome several huge health issues, and he just got tired and decided that it was easier not to keep fighting. Which is sad for the family, but for him it was such a release because he really was having to put a lot of hard work into just being normal, which wasn't him at all. So, there's no point although we've got that as a subject, with our health, we can only do the best we can with the information we're given and with the services that we have available. So if people are going through a health challenge or a challenge of any kind, just know that you'll have some resilience and tools within you. And if not, there may be some around. So it's a matter of reaching out sometimes and asking for help or looking for a solution. So another person doesn't always have your solution. You've got the solution from within, from your knowledge, your experience, and what's available for you to access.
Yes.
So look for and get the help.
Now, I'm sorry to hear about your loss. It's interesting because I had this conversation with a health practitioner yesterday because my mum's very much of, she's had enough of this life. Thank you very much. And we have that choice. And yes, for those of us who are left, it can be, well, it is a very, very sad time when we have to part physically with our loved ones. However, for them, there's an exciting new chapter. And I think that's something, I guess, the longer we have people around us, or then when someone unexpectedly passes, it brings us up, because we realise that we're grieving for ourselves. There's no way we can grieve for them, because guess what? They're on to a wonderful new chapter.
And it's also good. I was talking to his wife, my sister-in-law, and I was saying, although we're not avid religious people, we all have a belief and we all have a connection to our faith. That right. Doesn't mean you have to always go to church and things like that. So your connection to your faith believes in the afterlife and believes that, you call back to your source. And when you've got that, it does help, because you know that they've got that belief as well, because if they've grown up with you, it's part of their it's part of their being, actually. So
yes. Yes, why do we, some people have a long life and a long, healthy life.
Yeah.
Other people have a shorter life that's challenging from the minute they're born until the minute that they pass.
Yeah. And it's one of those things that I know as a natural therapist, I really struggled sometimes with that whole concept of lessons being learned. We're taught that we come back and we have experiences in our lifetime at the moment, in our present lifetime, that may address a lack or something that didn't quite get finished in our previous lifetime. But I found that all a little bit negative in that thought, to think that we've come back, 36 times. Some people say, this is my 36th life. And I go, you must be exhausted. I've been doing this 36 times. But I believe it's more about, it's our toolbox. I think we collect pearls of wisdom and tools and techniques during our experiences that assist us if that experience shows up again in our life. I don't go back to you haven't learnt the lesson, therefore you've got to go through it again. I believe that you've gathered some knowledge, you've gathered some of your tools, or your wisdom of your heart, and that knowledge and that information that adds to previous information gives you more or newer information and helps you to address something that may show up again. Do you get that?
Yes, I often think that if there's a pattern in our life, it's because we haven't fully learned something. But
we haven't had the knowledge. Maybe it's not so much that we haven't fully learnt it. We needed some more information to formalise that knowledge. It's like a graph, or like a plate of food, and you leave a spot for the peas. Until the peas are put on there, there's something missing, but you don't quite know what it is. And when the peas are put on the plate, your plate's full. Okay, but you could still eat the meal without the peas there, but there was a space. There was something missing all the time. So sometimes we haven't got enough information.
Sure.
Sometimes we've had to have learned something. Maybe it's an experience we've had as a younger child. Well, a younger child hasn't got the knowledge and the wisdom of someone who's been around a bit longer, so that they don't know what they don't know.
Right.
But down the track, they go, okay, now I've got more information. I've got more stuff I can put together. I've got more choice, more wisdom. That helps me to make a different decision.
Right. I
So
think we're
looking the need
at a similar situation with simply a different way of looking at it. So I can appreciate what you're saying. Yeah, it's maybe a more positive way of looking at, because I figure that if there's a pattern in my life, it's like, I can see, yes, what am I missing about this? Sometimes people might fall into a relationship, there's a common thread, and they don't succeed. It's like they're meeting up with a similar kind of person, but it's not quite the right person for them.
So So I think what the question needs to be, more than what lesson am I learning, is what is this experience showing me? Because if you do the same old, you'll get the same old.
Sure.
But if you don't know that you're needing to change, so if you don't know that the question that you're asking needs to change, well, then you're not going to put anything different into it.
Right.
So you're just going to keep rebounding on the same. You'll be on like the little hamster wheel. You'll just go round and round in circles. So something needs to change. It's either your quest for information needs to change, or why does this situation show up? Like, ask yourself, why is this showing up again? What am I actually needing to understand? And do I have anything different that I can add to it that helps me to get a different outcome? It's a bit like making a cake. I'm going back to food. I'm not why I'm going back to food all the time, but I am. If you decide you want to make a chocolate cake and you get all the ingredients together, now a cake has got a basic recipe, hasn't it? It's got sugar, flour, eggs, milk sometimes, but it's got a basic recipe.
Sure. If
you decide you're making a chocolate cake, but you omit the cocoa, you will still get a cake, but you'll get a vanilla cake.
Right.
And if you keep doing that and keep forgetting to put in the cocoa, you're not going to get your chocolate cake. So something has to change. Something has to change within what you're doing to get the desired outcome.
Sure.
Have to add the cocoa and you will get a chocolate cake. You know, so what do you need to add to the mixture, or what do you need to change even slightly to give a different outcome? Because I was just going to say because I'm a predominantly natural therapist and I do a lot of the work in that field. If you think of the Chinese philosophy, and they have the 5 circles, you can see it behind me on the chart over here somewhere, the 5 circles, and it's part of the 5 elements of the Chinese philosophy, right? We sometimes, when we're working on a goal, can use that analogy of the 5 circles, and each of the 5 represents a different aspect. One is your dream, one is your goal, one is your action, one is your results. And sometimes you get stuck on one, so you go back to the beginning all the time. But what you need to know is where you're stuck, what do you need to change where you're stuck that will give you a slightly different outcome? And if it's not the outcome you're after, what else can you put into it?
Yes. And I was going to say Rosemary's answer to all of that would be love and loving ourselves. And so often situations can be caused, we don't realize it, but it's through lack of self-love. So we're not feeling good about ourselves. We might not feel confident in a situation. And so to be able to embrace ourselves, that is a biggie. Big. I mean, I believe that's one of the big reasons we're here, to be able to embrace ourselves as we are in this very moment.
Yeah. And it's also one of the hardest things to do. When you have a client who comes to see you and their stress levels are so high, they're off the Richter scale, and their life energy or their joy and self-love is at very low tolerance. It is a journey for them to even acknowledge for a second that they may love themselves or like themselves. You know, we do mirror work with them, and we'll hold a mirror in front of them and get them to look at the person. And quite often a person can't look at themselves even, let alone to talk to themselves, you know. I remember getting one of my clients, she had to smile at herself in the mirror. Well, you would have thought I've told her to walk to Alaska or so. It was just overwhelming for her and just not what she could do. And here was me going, it's just a mirror, just looking. But I wasn't in her shoes. I wasn't standing in her life energy. You know, so you have to show tolerance sometimes to people, and sometimes you have to show them love or show them that there is hope. Or, you know, for me, hope's a big one too. You know, self-love, hope, joy and happiness, those things, when people are at their depths and they're facing the dark night of the soul, they're not ready to love themselves. They're not in a space to love themselves. They're certainly not in a mindset to do that.
So what are the small steps? What would be the smallest? Because I realise we're not able to take giant steps, and we're talking all the time about be gentle with ourselves and acknowledge the fact that, yes, I have taken a small step. Gee, I've been able to take a little peek in that mirror without putting it down.
That's sometimes what you have to do, Annette, is just build it slowly. But, you know, one of the things you can do straight away is give yourself a hug. You know, get your arms and wrap it around. Just give it really, really, really tight hug and just say, oh, gosh, you're awesome, or well done you, or something that just adds to positivity. I'll often share with clients, you know, I have my Henry bucket and my Deliza bucket, which is stress and life energy, but I also explain to them, if you can imagine you've got a scale with your life energy, like positivity and negativity as well. And sometimes our body will respond back on an adrenal basis to whatever is the highest. And so often the highest energy is the negative experience.
Right.
You know, you can get 100 compliments and you go, oh, that's really nice. It's really nice. And then one person will say one thing. And the thing you focus on is that one person.
Yes.
And that one comment, not the 100 others. They're just, I don't really believe that because one person said something else. It must be true. So, you know, it is a matter of regulation and catching yourself being. It's not about being positive all the time. It's about using a more positive focus or a more positive outlook on circumstances, or adding a bit of positivity. It's I don't know. It's not about saying, I love, like Dad. There's no way Dad will be saying, I love the fact I fell over and got stitched. All right. But he could say, I'm so grateful I didn't hit my head.
Sure.
Right. So that's the positive aspect of that. For me, it was being able to say, Dad, maybe this is now you can acknowledge, don't walk behind the cars trying to help us back out of the area, because as a driver, that's distracting. So why don't you wait in front of the car? Walk us to the car. Certainly that's what he does. He's always done it. So keep walking us to the car, but wait in the front. Wait on the level ground, not on the uneven bitumen, you know, that caused such agony to him. So for me, it gave me the chance to have that conversation. Would I have rather not done it that way? Absolutely. I kept saying, not on my watch. He fell on my watch. Oh, my God. You know, but, yeah. So you have to, and even if it's nothing to do with being hurt, what other aspects, you know, could he have looked at? I don't know. You just got to look for something that deflates a little bit of the negativity or the negative experience.
Yeah. Well, the fact, as you say, didn't hit his head, didn't break any bones.
Absolutely. That's the first thing they said. Don't move him. He might have broken his hip. Oh, sorry. I've already lifted him up. And you want to lay on the ground? Yeah. Whoops.
Yes.
So there's always a positive. It's not always about what the experience is. People think they have to look at something that's wrong. Like Dad had a bleeding arm. He couldn't look at his arm and say it's not bleeding, because his body's saying, for God's sake, I'm bleeding. I'm dripping everywhere. So he has to be positive about it. So you just have to distract the body or distract the comments that you're making. And it says that it's not about being that person that everyone wants to knock your block off, that you're positive about everything. It's not that. It's not about being that. It's just about raising your personal life energy to give yourself hope and joy, or to start the process of hope and joy. You know, and those small steps are what we do.
Well, that's where
nature.
A gratitude journal, all this can be very useful, especially if we're finding it difficult to find anything positive in our life. You know, to look around and to be grateful for the things that we can take for granted.
I know clients say, but I've got nothing to be grateful about. And I'll go, did you eat today? Oh, yeah. Well, there you go. You're grateful for food. Did you enjoy it? No. Okay, well, let's look at something else. You know, what would you rather eat tomorrow? Can you be grateful for a blessing of food the next day that might come your way? You know, so sometimes we forget the small stuff and we try and make it big. No, the small stuff fills your bucket just as quickly and just as easily.
Yeah.
And look, sometimes people in their life, and you'd know this, that sometimes people's lives are just not good at that time. They're a whole truckload of not goods. So when they're in that whole truckload of not goods, they have to use those small things to be positive about.
Wow.
So we're echoing, Rosemary.
There's a
I'm listening to you.
Rosemary is joining us.
Poor Rosemary's hearing me twice.
I'm hearing you twice, definitely. I had it on my mobile phone and I just had to turn it off. I've been listening to you and enjoying it very much, what you had to say, Marney. I always enjoy listening to you.
Thank you.
You're so wise. And I just, when you're listening, other things come up.
Yeah.
And you'd like to add something. So
Absolutely.
I thought, I'll get on early.
Add away.
And my concept is not only do we have to be grateful, but when just taking a step back, when we're repeating patterns, we have to notice it.
Yeah.
And we have to really notice what's going on in our minds. And we've got to release, and identify that and release it. I know my famous story is that I had 2 husbands before my third wonderful one, and each one tried to hurt me, right? And the second one tried to kill me, and he had a mental problem.
Yeah.
And it was only when I was leaving him under police protection and I'm driving out, and all of a sudden I noticed something in me. And I thought, oh my God, they're trying to show me that I play victim. All the time. I'm a martyr to every situation, oh yes, I'll make the cup of tea. Oh yes, I'll do this. Oh yes, don't worry about me. I'll do this. And I thought to myself in that moment, what if my first husband, who was a very severe alcoholic, what if before we were born, he was up in another dimension, wherever, and he said, now I love you so much, I'll come down and play the victimizer for you. What if he was playing that role just for me? So I could wake up and say, oh my God, I'm playing victim, and let it go. But I didn't get it. Well, I was married to him for over 20 years. So my second husband, I was only married to a few months, and I found he had a mental problem. And when I realised that, and I'm driving the car and I'm thinking, oh my God, and I just stopped. And I thought, they're just trying to show me that I've got victim consciousness. They're doing me a favour. They love me. They're trying to show me. And from that day on, I've never played victim again. Or I've caught myself going to, be the martyr. And, oh, yes, I'll do that. Don't worry. And I've stopped it immediately. And I've let it go. And my third husband is the most divine man. I'm so blessed. And he cares for me and looks after me and worries about me, And he's so kind. And because I didn't marry the same type, because
you didn't know. You got more information, and that's what I'm saying. The information you got was that you're a survivor. You're not a victim. So you had a different outlook. You had a different experience to take through.
I had to let that consciousness go, the victim consciousness. And it was
I teach people to don't use the word victim. So, you're not a victim of whatever. You are a survivor of an experience. And that again is a totally different thing. Once you've identified what that is, and that's where with the kinesiology, we identify emotional connections or emotional trauma triggers to experiences or what people are feeling.
Yes.
And it's confronting at times. It's quite confronting.
It's
when you say to people,
that
what do you
was...
think about this? And they go, oh, I don't know. It's usually done in a way that it's supportive as well, but it identifies, because suddenly, as you say, they wake up, they suddenly go, oh my God. And I find
it was a moment like that. I even stopped driving the car.
Yeah.
It was such a big
thing. Yeah.
Oh my God, it's me.
Yeah.
They're doing this to show me I've got to release that victim consciousness.
Yeah.
And I did.
Yeah.
It was a wonderful moment.
I find too that a lot of times people will identify to the story of something. I've shared this with Annette lots of times, that when a product turns up for my clients, whether it be an angel card or a gemstone or one of my shells or anything at all, it doesn't matter what it is, I will source the information about the product. And you read the story of the product to the people and they go, oh my God, that's me to a T. That's because you have your imbalance, you have your balance, and you have that what possible physical ramifications it can have. And it's knowledge is empowering. When people acknowledge that that's how they feel, they can move forward. But if they don't acknowledge that, if they don't know that that's how they're feeling, how do they know what they might require moving on?
That's right. It's, to me, I go this other step. They don't know they're thinking that. And they're thinking that creates that feeling, doesn't it? So to me, it's in their mind.
Thoughts and words are powerful.
Yes, it's in their mind that creates the feeling. So they have to release it, you know, and the feelings.
But until they know it, until that knowledge is there, they can't do it.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, exactly.
I'd like to say that when I realised quite some time ago that the people who are here, can give us a hard time or hurt us, are here to help us, as Rosemary has realised, to show us something about ourselves. And so I know in recent years I had a situation and people were going, oh, Annette, how do you know? Aren't you hurt? Rah, rah, rah. And I said, no, I'm grateful that I have been given this opportunity to believe in myself, to stand up for myself, because I'd had a similar situation where I felt like a leper. And I realised that these people were giving me the opportunity to learn about myself and to believe in myself, to love myself, and to have confidence in me. And so there, as Rosemary has said, to be grateful to these people who have come into our lives.
Oh, yes. I bless them.
On a soul level that they're prepared to play the baddie, if you like.
That's right. That's right, yes. There was a story in one of the books, and I can't remember the name. I was just trying to think of the book, and I can't remember what it was called. But the story went that there was a man stepped out of an office and he walked in the, left a building, and he's going up the street, and he stopped because he saw somebody lying in the gutter who was drunk, right? And he helped him. And the story went that a friend, or whether it was Jesus, came to him and said to him, that man lying in the gutter had given you a gift. He might have done that purposely, like unconsciously, just for you, to open your heart that day. Instead of saying, oh, look at that wasted life, you didn't, you stopped and you helped him. Wouldn't it be wonderful to think that he did that knowingly, unconsciously, but spiritually knowing, just for you, open your heart? So we never know, as you say, Annette, when people come into our lives, are they coming in to help us?
Indeed.
Definitely. Mm.
Why is it so?
Why is it so?
What a
Why
great
is it
subject.
so? Yeah. Why
Yeah.
is it so?
Yeah.
That's a lovely thing to say, Marnie. Why
Yeah.
is it so?
It's the topic today. And it was brilliant, as usual.
Yes, very, very good. And I had something here. I was talking with a friend, Christine Christo. I don't know whether you know her. And we were talking about picking up energies. And we know when we go into a shopping mall or
Yeah.
things like that, just picking up energies. And they're not ours. And a friend of mine, another friend, said to me that she felt not so good this day. And what she was doing was picking up her friend's energy because she was at the funeral of her father. And so it wasn't her own energy that was making her feel awful. She was picking up on a friend. She was empathetic and she was picking it up. So when I was talking to Christine about this, Christine said, this is what I say every night. All energies that are not mine and do not serve my highest good, I now return back to the Creator to be transmitted into love for the Earth Mother's healing. And I thought that was lovely. All energies that are not mine and do not serve my highest good, I now return back to the Creator to be transmitted into love for the Earth Mother's healing. And she said, that's really useful for me. And she said, I say that every night. Because a lot of the energies that we have, we picked up,
Yeah.
and they're not ours, and we react to them.
So you imagine imprinting that onto your heart aura without having to say it. So without having to say it every night, making it set as part and parcel of who you are. So you
would be lovely,
you could implant that with the figure 8 over your heart chakra and over your heart energy as you say it, and that way it's in place. You could still say it if you wanted to, and it just gave you help, but you could always have that set as well, so that it's just part of who you are.
That would be so lovely, yes.
Because I find you give clients all these kind of great tools and little sayings and stuff, but when they're in the moments of stress, they forget them. They don't remember what to say. So you need to be able to teach them that if you make that in so be it, like even if you use so be it at the end of it, it just forms part of your general energy, and you're not having to repeat it all the time.
I didn't realise that. So just say so be it.
So be it sets it in place. Your intention, when you're doing a meditation, when you're doing a prayer, when you're doing an intonation of any kind, you make an intention to do it. So you make a commitment and intention, and that's what you're doing. Right. So if you put that intention out there, and your intention is to hold your own energy secure from the influence of negative energy, but still allowing love and empathy and sympathy and stuff to come through, you just put it in place. It's like the rainbow waterfall. I put them in place and they're set. I don't have to reset them all the time. I might put more somewhere, but if you put it in place and your intention is that is a cleansing element for you, why would you need to keep worrying, is it there? Your trust is that it is.
Yes.
I know, that's me. I'm a bit more blunt. I just know that if you're doing something that's regular, that means something, you're doing it for that reason. So why you're doing it should be still there.
Very good. Thank you.
And I know too with your when people bump you and stuff in shopping centres, it's because your light's shining brightly. And we have to know that our light doesn't diminish by sharing our flame. It diminishes when the wax runs down. So you need your self-care and nurturing kept up to allow your light to be shared by other people, or for them to gain a bit of help. But again, I remember once getting very overwhelmed and totally out of my depths with an energy that saw my light and wanted to borrow it, and I had no idea. So I was quite open, and that's where I started to set intentions and protections for myself. And I was just told that he saw my light and he wanted help. And I said, yeah, but the way he did it nearly killed me from fright. You know, I got such a fright. So it made me then gather information so that if an experience happened again, I had a tool to cope with it. And mine is generally to say to the universe, don't do it. I don't do that.
But it made you gather more information.
Absolutely, yeah, because I really, as I said, I nearly had a heart attack. It was terrifying. Well, it wasn't a blessed, enjoyable experience, that's for sure. But maybe if it hadn't been as sharp or as strong, I wouldn't have taken as much notice of it.
That's right. Yes.
But, yeah, not on. Invitation. And you have to teach children that too. Like children that are open to angels and guides and things like that need their self-care and nurturing, so they need to sleep at night. Now, when you're in your subconscious awareness, that's when the angels and guides and spirits and things come to play. So, you know, you have to teach them that it's okay to say, it's my sleep time.
Yes.
I'm not here to play at this time. I need to, you know, recover. And parents can set an intention into their child's room and just say, look, the children need their space. I don't mind them playing with fairies and spirits and things like that, but not every night because they become exhausted.
Very good. Very wise.
It's interesting, isn't it? Different ways of interpretation. It comes back to individual, what suits me. Some people might feel that they like knowing that the elementals or the angels or whoever are around them, and it's boundaries and learning them from an early age. Yeah. Rosemary, you were mentioning, both of you, going into shopping centres, and I know people ask for protection, or they put the protective shield around themselves. Before I often wondered in the past, before I came, I guess, as spiritually aware as I am, why I don't particularly like the big shopping centres. And it's because there are so many people there, so many different energies. So self-protection is
so you imagine if that is something and you have to go, because sometimes you mightn't like going somewhere but you have to go, so you can imagine putting one of the rainbow waterfalls over your head so that it's protecting you. They can still see you, and you can still share your wisdom or your light if you choose to, but again, it's a choice. You can say, no, not on my watch. Well, I should have said that for Dad. But you know, you can say, I'm not available today. You know, this is my energy today. It's like asking angels for help. I chose to decide some time ago that I like to ask them to give me their assistance in human time, because they have unlimited time. So to them, in a minute could be decades later. But you kind of need the help now. So I'll often say, hey, guys, in my time is really nice and really helpful for me at the moment.
Yes.
You know, so, but that was just something I thought, well, you know, angels infinity. They're not set in hours and minutes and seconds, but we are. So here on Earth, we kind of need help now. Yeah. Again, it's interpretation, and I came to natural therapies quite old. I was 46, 47, and although I had angels in my life because I was brought up a Catholic, we always had a guardian angel and we always prayed to the angels and things like that. I never thought of it in the contents of natural therapy. So I really had to, I can honestly say I struggled a lot with the metaphysical side of natural therapies. It nearly did my head in.
Right.
Nearly did my head in. And then you add to that all the technical explanations and concepts of medical jargon and stuff, and I'd think, what the heck am I doing here?
I work with angels every day, and of course to me it's very natural to talk to Archangel Michael, because I talk to him, he's my friend and he's just here and with us, you know.
Yeah. And you come to that realisation, but initially I did, they used to say to me, Marnie, you're going to hug a tree soon. We'll get you hugging those trees. you know, because it was just so foreign. Some of the concepts for me were very foreign and didn't feel like coming home, whereas working with the oils and the shells and things like that is very natural for me. And honestly, you can't say where some of your information comes from. It comes out of your mouth and you go, oh, my God, where did that come from?
It does. Oh, when I lead a meditation, I never know what I'm going to say. It just comes out.
Yeah, trusting. I'd like to welcome Belinda Brown to the show. Belinda, thank you for joining us. And Marney, it's almost time to say goodbye.
It is, I know. Look at the clock. So lovely always. And welcome, Belinda. And we meet again in a month. I can't believe how quickly the month goes. That's what gets me.
I know.
Like, it can't possibly be the second Thursday again. Really?
And it's the middle of the year. It's like,
I know,
oh my
June.
goodness.
Gosh.
It's
I know.
zooming.
How does that happen? It just goes. And that's our human time. See, it's not even angel time. It's flitting away.
That's our human time, yes.
Yeah. Thank you, ladies. It's always lovely. And thank you, Annette. You're a special person.
Thank you, Marney, and all the best to your dad. May he heal well and quickly.
Hopefully. Yep. All right. Touch.
Thank you for your wisdom.
See you next week, girls. Oh, next month. Sorry.
Okay.
Possibly
yes,
next week, but definitely next month. All right. Okay. Good night.
Thanks, Marney.
Good night. Good night.
So, Rosemary.
So we might have a little meditation, do you think?
I think that would be lovely. Yes.
Yes, I think we might sort of help people live today stress-free, hopefully, with a little meditation. Okay.
Gorgeous.
All right. You ready?
Absolutely.
Tell me when to start. You ready now?
It's over to you.
Right. Okay. So just shut our eyes and take a nice deep breath. Breathing in for the count of 4. Breathing out for the count of 6. Feeling the feet on the floor. I'm just getting comfortable. I hope you are getting comfortable. Feeling your body on the chair. The weight of the body on the chair. Feel the clothes on the skin. The air about the face. Notice if it's cold or warm. And breathe. Notice the taste in the mouth. Becoming aware of the senses. Becoming aware of the listening. What can you hear? While you feel? While you touch? While you taste? And breathe. As you become more aware, the mind quietens down. The chatter quietens down. Now take a deep breath again. And as you release, let go the tension in the body. Letting go and just being. Being here now. Being aware. Let the listening run even out further. Imagine you can hear a river, a creek, or the ocean. Just listening, imagining you've gone out as far as the ocean. And you can see the horizon where the sky meets the ocean. And you're expanding your consciousness with the view of the ocean as it goes out further and further. And you feel lighter as you look at the sky. And you imagine yourself being lifted, your consciousness being lifted up. Up, up, higher and higher. You feel more relaxed and more relaxed. You go higher and higher. Being attracted to a star, the light of a star. And it's bringing peace and joy and harmony into your body. And you feel very relaxed. Very expanded. Your consciousness is so expanded now. So expanded. So full of love and light. And you know you're meant to bring this light, love, and peace back with you. Back with your consciousness into your physical body. You're meant to bring it back to all your bodies. And so, gently come back, down, coming back down, coming back gently into your physical body, bringing peace and love and light, harmony to your physical body, your etheric body, your mental body, your emotional body, and your spiritual body. Bring peace. Peace. Be here now and feel this peace, this relaxation. Just be now, feeling the light, the love, and the peace. Thank you. So be it. So be it. Annette, I have to tell you, that was the hardest thing to do. There was a baby king parrot just outside my door here, window. And he was squawking, and his squawk is anything but peaceful.
Well, you did it very, very well, because I feel incredibly peaceful. I would.
Oh dear, dear. And I was very tempted to come out of it, and but then actually the door is shut now. I look at it, but because it's cold and the door's shut. But it's a full-length glass door here at the kitchen, and oh my gosh, he was squawking just outside.
He wanted to join in.
He did. He needed that bit of peace, It was
Belinda.
like, Mother, feed me. Someone feed me.
Well, Belinda's thanking you. She says, Rosemary, thank you. The birds. And she felt, she was talking about the birds, and they made her feel peaceful. I felt I was soaring up with them. So I'm sure the king parrot was simply joining in your magnificent meditation.
Thank you. Oh dear. I do like leading a meditation, and I go with it, sort of thing.
Yes.
And yes, it was very useful. Thank you. For me.
Well, I think, Rosemary, I appreciate the fact that you're able to pass that knowledge on to other people. And the more that we can practice here on Angel Heart Radio, and of course let people know about your YouTube channel and the many meditations that are up there now.
I'd just like to tell people, if they'd like to contact me,
Yes.
My email is rosemary@rosemarybutterworth.com.au, and I'd love to hear from them at any time if they've got a query or if they want my book. All right? I'd like to send them.
Fantastic. I'm just putting that into the chat room and it will come up.
Oh, thank you, Annette.
Isn't it? It is an AU at the end.
Yes.
Oh, now Belinda is saying, across the water, it was beautiful. I've been with my grandchildren. I so needed this today. And see, we get what we need when we need it, because Belinda joined us shortly, or let us know she had joined us just before we said goodbye to Marney. And she expressed the fact that she was enjoying some quiet time to herself. Sun on her back, lovely, lucky, fortunate Belinda. And she was joining us, which is fantastic. So thank you, Belinda. Yes, I agree. We both are Earth Angels, as are you. I figure.
As are you, definitely, Belinda, definitely.
Yes. And we can all be described as that, because when we're living through love. Isn't that, I mean, that's what angels do.
Yes, yes, definitely.
I'm grateful for Belinda's gratitude. I'm grateful, Rosemary, that you're able to join me, and I'm incredibly grateful to Angel Heart Radio and to Anayah for giving us this opportunity to spread the love, to share our thoughts, and because that's, for me, that's certainly how I've learnt over the years, by listening to other people and having conversations that have extended my own thinking and understanding of why.
Definitely. I agree with you. I'm sorry to interrupt. I agree with you. I'm very grateful to Anayah and to Angel Heart Radio, and that we can share. And I learned so much. I mean, just the different things that Marnie said, the different way of expressing things, think, oh, gee, I hadn't thought of it that way before. Yes, it's really good. Thank you.
And I think it's very important, well, I know it's very important that, yes, we have different ways of expressing ourselves and different views. We have to take what sits well with us. Somebody else's view is great for them, and sure, it might extend our thinking, and it might alter our thinking. On the other hand, it might strengthen our own thinking for what is correct for us, and what's correct for me isn't necessarily correct for the next person. However, we have to own our own thoughts and beliefs.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Rosemary. And audience, I would like to say to you, Rosemary's coming back. We've got a whole show together next week.
We do.
How good is that? Talking about now. The time is now.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Annette and Anayah, and Angel Heart Radio. And thank you so much, Belinda. It means so much, your feedback. It means so much to us. Thank you.
She's having a little cry. God bless you, Belinda. Yeah, she's having a release. Fantastic. It's wonderful when we can understand and welcome a good cry, because I love crying at a movie, Rosemary.
Yes.
It's a catalyst for me releasing so much that has been building up inside me. So, Belinda, thank you for sharing that. To our audience, thank you for being with us all the way, whether it be live now or down the track. Thank you for being there. Rosemary, thank you for your presence. And
thank you.
I'm so looking forward to next week. Not jumping ahead at all, because I'm going to enjoy the next few minutes as well.
My word, so am I.
Go and enjoy those beautiful birds and whatever else graces your day.
I'm going to put just very quickly, I'm going to put a video of them, about a 15-second video, on my Facebook. And I'll do that today. There was about 10 king parrots out there this morning. It was just so beautiful. So I'll put that 10-second video on Facebook. Okay?
Beautiful. We'll make sure that we look for that.
All right.
Thank you, everyone, very, very much. Thank you, Rosemary.
Bye-bye.
Bye for now.